WAOH is brought to you in part by Jumpstart Video, online at jumpstartvideo.com.
Welcome back to Good Morning Akron. I am going to be talking to another prospective school board candidate, Patrick Bravo. Patrick, how are you today?
I'm great, Sarah. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you're on the show. Glad that we're able to provide information for our Akron community about everyone who's interested in being on the APS school board. So let's just go ahead and share a little bit about yourself so people can get to know you.
Absolutely. So I live here in West Akron with my partner Michael and our son Aiden. He's an Akron Public School student at Akron Early College High School downtown in Akron. I previously served on the board for 10 years, during which time I also served as vice president and president of the school board.
Oh, wow.
I have a very deep passion for children and families. A lot of the community service that I do right here in Akron are with organizations that support children and families. Child Guidance and Family Solutions, the Akron Zoo, Children's Services. I really like to focus on organizations that are working to make sure that children and families have a chance to succeed.
So why do you want to be back on the board, I should say, since you were already on the board? What makes you want to come back and do this again?
This is a great opportunity to come back and provide. I think I have something to offer, to provide some leadership and experience on a board that is seeing some change. We know that 3 seats are up this year, and the school district has a lot of difficult decisions. This board is going to face some very difficult decisions in the coming months around finances and around school safety and climate. And I think I have something to offer there. And I still have a child in the school district, and so it means a lot to me, the success of this district.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we're going to go to some questions here from our community. I had quite a few people write in these questions. So what do you think is working well in APS right now?
Well, we have great teachers and staff working for APS right now who are very passionate about what they do and need to know that the community and that the school board itself still supports the work that they do in educating our children. So first and foremost, I would say it's our faculty and our staff, and that's everybody that's involved, bus drivers and all of the people that make this district work for our kids. So I would say that's the number one thing we have going for us.
Absolutely. What do you think are the conditions necessary for learning?
A positive and safe school environment, but it's more than that, and it extends beyond the walls of our buildings. It matters what happens in our community on a daily basis as to whether or not our kids feel, whether or not they're in the right place to learn. So there are lots of things, as our community knows, whether it's food insecurity or housing insecurity or safety on the streets, that affect whether or not children can come in and learn fractions. So it takes an entire community to make Akron Public Schools work.
Yeah, okay. So what do you think education should look like in the future? Let's go 10 years down the road. What do you hope that APS and education looks like?
I'm not even sure if I can imagine what education can look like. We have, as we've been working through the building projects over the last several years to renovate or rebuild schools, we often say that by the time we finish the design phase of a building and are ready to start construction, we're already out of date. Technology is changing the way that children and all of us learn every single day. So I think what education should look like, or is going to look like, is a system that can move with the times and meet children where they are and embrace technology and embrace what they have in their hands. It might not even be in their hands at some point, I don't know. But I think we have to be willing to move and change with the times.
Okay. What is your most current grassroots involvement with APS outside of your personal child or your neighborhood school?
Yeah, so most recently, of course, serving on the board, I served through the end of 2021. As we have transitioned with new leadership, I have been invited to be part of focus groups and to be part of the community interview process with the superintendent. Recently attended a transition interview with a consultant as he prepares a report for the superintendent on what some of the thoughts and concerns are from the public on what the school district needs to face. I attended the most recent board retreat down in Columbus to learn a little bit more about some of the decisions that the board is poised to make. So I've had a lot of involvement even since my time leaving the board.
That's great.
Yeah.
All right. Where do you see inequity within APS, and how can you as a school board member address it?
Very good question. You know, in 2017, disparities have existed inside the classroom and outside the classroom for years. Your zip code should not determine what kind of education you get or what kind of services and support you get from the community. And educational inequities exist throughout, and sometimes that is the result of outside influence, whether it's state legislative policy or public policy towards education, or how schools are funded, or what goes into the curriculum. As school board members, we are to be advocates for our schools, but most importantly, advocates for our kids and what they need. We need, one of the things that we can do and that we have done is continue to build family resource supports within our schools and find out what's working and take those to other buildings. We can and we should do more around making sure that we are eliminating those inequities. They're barriers to education, and every kid in this district deserves to have the same opportunities as if they were going to any other district.
Right, district-wide, absolutely. So would you have a plan if a tiny minority of people work to ban books, librarians, or libraries?
Wow, to ban books. You know, listen, education has become a central focal point for a lot of hot topics and hot button issues recently. I think you have to go in with an open mind. I think you have to be willing to listen, to engage first, to listen, to learn, to discuss, to find common ground, to be able to de-escalate some of those situations, to be able to work through some of those issues. I don't know that I have a concrete plan because I don't know what it would look like if someone attempted to ban books, but I do think I could provide the kind of leadership that we would need to sort of walk through a tough issue like that.
All right. This is a person who has a child with a disability in APS, so she sent in a few questions. She said, what background or experience do you have with special education and or disabilities? Do you have any background?
Personally, I do not in my personal life. In my professional life, when I was a juvenile officer in Warren City Schools, I certainly worked with classrooms where there were special needs students of all ranges. I was at least exposed to that. I was part of IEP plans when there were more severe behavior issues that were the result of special needs. At Akron Public Schools, certainly in my time on the board, I worked with our special education department. We addressed concerns from the community. And certainly, I guess, in my personal life, I do know families with special needs students who have reached out and had questions or concerns. What I would say to that parent is more than just our personal experience with special needs. If someone has a question, if someone has an issue, if someone feels like their student is not receiving the supports and services that their child needs, to please reach out to your board members. That's what we're there for, is to advocate on behalf of all students. And so I would say, while my personal experience might be limited, please reach out if you have questions. I would love to be a resource for them.
Absolutely, and that was one of her questions. She said, would you be willing to meet and discuss concerns if you were elected, and initiatives by parents and advocates of special education students? So you said yes. And what would you do to ensure that students with disabilities will have meaningful inclusion within their school environment with their peers?
Yeah, I would listen to the parents first. And every parent is different, every child's situation is different. But I took great pride in the 10 years that I was on the board in making sure that I was responsive. People have my cell phone number, they have my email address. I personally respond to every email that I get, and I'm always willing to listen. We can grab coffee, we can sit down, we can chat in a space that's comfortable for you, and we can talk about your child. And over the 10 years that I was on the board, there were a lot of sensitive issues that people felt they needed help with
Right.
when it came to their children. And education is a very personal experience. You know, we're not filling potholes, we're educating children, and sometimes it can be emotional and stressful and hard, and parents don't always know where to turn, and that's what we're there for.
Yeah. Okay. Who is responsible for education here in Akron?
We all are. Yeah, every one of us. School board members are there for governance and for policy and to be advocates and to engage the community. But that old saying that it takes a village, it really does. Because nothing happens, nothing is, you know, our school buildings, our children in the classroom are not insulated from what goes on outside of those buildings. And so it takes all of us focusing on safety and the well-being of our community and the well-being of our families to make sure that kids can come in and learn, which is what they're there for.
Yeah.
So all of us.
Yeah, I hear you. Go ahead and leave some words of wisdom for APS students as we wrap this up, Patrick.
Yeah, no matter what happens in November, we have a great school district. We have amazing opportunities for every kid that walks through our doors. And I hope that regardless of, you know, first of all, I hope people vote in November, no matter how they vote. And no matter what the outcome is, I hope they know that they have a group of bright and passionate people who want to do the right thing, who want to be there for the school district. And we do have a great district, and we do have amazing opportunities that I would stack up against any other district in this state. So, but we do have a lot of work to do. So I hope that people will consider me for that.
Absolutely. Go ahead and share with people how they could get in touch with you if they have questions or if they want to go to your website. Do you have that available?
Yeah, very
Yep.
simple, patrickbravo.com or
Great.
facebook.com/patrickbravo. Please, or patrick@patrickbravo.com. If you'd like to email me, please reach out if you have questions. We have a lot of work to do, and as I said at the beginning, we have a lot of tough decisions ahead, so
Yeah.
we need to hear from people.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Sarah.
it.
Appreciate
All right.
it.
Thank you guys for watching. We're going to have more of our school board candidates coming up.